On today's episode of Tactical Mayhem, the Emperor's divine intervention manifests in the most unexpected way. This mission begins with a harrowing hot drop onto the war-torn surface of Dimerium, where the traitorous Thousand Sons have entrenched themselves within an ecclesiarchy compound. What unfolds is a desperate struggle, with a lone Carcharodon battle brother weaving through a sea of chaos forces. Yet, through a series of questionable decisions, sheer determination, and a lot of nerve, a moment of miraculous salvation emerges, one that can only be attributed to the Emperor of mankind. Against all odds, and the will of Tzeentch, the team rallies to claim victory, proving that even in the darkest hours the Emperor protects, or at the very least delegates to AI.
Dai, ma incredibile.
A brother has fallen.
Oh dear.
Thousand Sons assault unit sighted. Heretic sighted. Commencing
Raga, non si può giocare così.
Remain adamant. Justice for turning against your brother's traitor.
And as the situation grew dire, the now cough-free and newly revived Shieldbearer battle brother places an impeccably timed banner, a move most clutch. After the carnage, a small moment of respite ensues, with pleasantries exchanged between the weary battle brothers.
You honor me, but such a virtue pales when compared to your tenacity. Nonsense. Good spirits inspired.
The Auspex wailed its warning, a frantic pulse of binary blips heralding the impending arrival of the archenemy.
The mutant and the heretic.
Still one brother short, the dynamic duo opts for the age-old Astartes strategy. Plant your boots, tighten your grip, and hope the Emperor appreciates dramatic last stands. Oops, forgot we had a sidearm, did we? With a swift, brutal motion, he tore the heretic's head free, and a burst of warp-tainted light spilled out like the galaxy's most cursed piñata. The display, however, was overshadowed by the exasperated groan of his shield brother hitting the ground once again as another litany of hatred sounded through the Vox. Alone and encircled by the forces of chaos, the Carcharodon stood at a crossroads, retreat and regroup or press on into the jaws of the enemy. Yet, feeling like things were too easy, he decided to hug his own boomy and then do a few shark splashes for good measure. Unbeknownst to the struggling Carcharodon, reinforcements had arrived, and with them a faint glimmer of hope. The mission, though battered and bruised, was still viable. As the newly arrived brother fell in battle, it seemed the Emperor's light had finally dimmed and all was lost. But then the miracle. In a twist of fate or perhaps divine intervention, the disgruntled shield-bearer, weighed down by his frustration, made the ultimate sacrifice. He rage quit. And in that fleeting, razor-thin moment before all faded to black, the Imperium's bureaucracy stepped in. His place was filled by an NPC arriving with the vigor of full health and absolutely zero emotional baggage. This unexpected savior, unshackled by human error, promptly revived the fallen brothers and reignited the mission's momentum. It was as if the Emperor himself had whispered, "Let me handle this one."
heresy led you to this end. The console holds no charge. We need a new power source.
The Tomb servitors may have a replacement.
The ground shuddered with ominous force. 2000 Suns Terminators emerged, their warp-forged armor glowing with malevolence. The battle was swift and decisive. It was time to bestow the Emperor's glory upon the heretic yet again. How about that sidearm? Denied. Feeling a bit too healthy for the grimdark aesthetic, the Carcharodon decided it was time to balance the scales. Sometime after patching himself up with a Medici stim, he charged into the fray with the vigor of a man who'd forgotten his last near-death experience. All was going well until a 1000 Suns Marine teleported directly in front of him. Without hesitation, the shark lobbed a grenade at point-blank range. The explosion was spectacular. It stunned the 1000 Suns Marine. And the Carcharodon? Well, he found himself right back at a pubesized sliver of health. Turns out, nothing trims a scruffy beard quite like shaving with high explosives. And now, with newly rearranged facial aerodynamics, the space shark was more than eager to reduce the 1000 Suns to heretical confetti.
Let us pray this still has enough charge.
The fusion core was found, and the squad rushed to the cogitator to power the door. But as they activated the machine, the spirit within responded coldly. The consecration seals would only be broken for the reinterment of the dead. The Vox channel crackled as the Space Marine captain's voice cut through the tension, issuing an official decree. He authorized the reinterment of the honored dead off-world, granting the team a rare and solemn excuse to enter the tombs. Their task was clear: find a fallen Space Marine, one worthy of reinterment, and return to the cogitator to fulfill the machine spirit's conditions. Only then would the doors yield to their passage. Before any Tomb Raider puns could be voiced or suppressed, the team was ambushed yet again. 1000 Suns Terminator stomped into view, accompanied by a sorcerer radiating malevolence like a faulty plasma coil. The battle was fierce but swift, with the squad reducing the heretics to their constituent parts, complete with dramatic sprays of blue, purple and gold, like a heretical fireworks display. Truly, the 1000 Suns knew how to make death look garish. The squad, already weary from constant fighting, exchanged a few resigned glances, but followed the servo skull as it floated off into the labyrinthine catacombs. No one dared voice their frustration, but the unspoken sentiment was clear. Even in the midst of war, the Imperium demands paperwork.
Ready to scan.
His grenade-peeled countenance, already worn thin by the monotony of guard duty, simply could not endure another moment of tedium. Dashing toward the main chamber with the urgency of someone allergic to inactivity, he weaved through sniper fire with a mix of precision and sheer bloody-mindedness. There was no pause, no hesitation, only the hunt as he closed the distance to his prey, chainblade primed and ready to deliver the Emperor's judgment. Forgot about this one, have we?
I will not yield to these wolves.
Sure, it was messy, perhaps a bit overkill, but for as long as the Carcharodon was on the hunt, it seemed even the Emperor had no choice but to roll his eyes and mutter, "Fine, I'll allow it."
Evaluating sarcophagus. Interred remains somber in peaceful rest. Records redacted by order of the Holy Inquisition. Resuming search.
You saw nothing.
Only in death does duty end. Scanning casket now. Ignobility index too high. Seeking another candidate.
The squad exchanged a few bemused glances, the unspoken question lingering. Just how does one quantify being too much of a disappointment for reinterment?
To be remembered in death is the reward of a life well spent. Scanning sarcophagus. Nominal burial. No remains to be transferred. Proceeding on.
Because, of course, even in death, some managed to leave nothing but paperwork and disappointment behind. As the servo skull continued its bureaucratic pilgrimage through the catacombs, the Carcharodon's boredom reached critical levels. For a moment, the haze of his battle rage lifted, replaced by something far more dangerous: clarity. It was then he noticed two things. First, his bolter's ammunition count was dangerously low, a situation that had been steadily deteriorating while he was too busy carving heretics into artistic statements. Second, and perhaps more embarrassingly, he realized he actually owned a sidearm, an heirloom he had utterly neglected in favor of grenades and dramatic flair.
Faithful bones lie in perpetual grace, the slumber promised to all. Browsing catafalque. Remains overdue for reconsecration and reburial. By the machine god's will, let it be done.
With the bureaucratic scavenger hunt complete, the squad began their retreat from the catacombs, stepping over puddles of ichor and ignoring the theatrical wails and manic laughter of chaos cultists behind them. Let them scream. It wasn't going to make them any less doomed. However, the cultists weren't done auditioning for their premature demise. As the team emerged into the open, they were greeted by a welcoming committee of gibbering heretics, armed and ready to spread some highly questionable theology. With his ammunition count in the red and fresh out of f***s to give, the Carcharodon took a decidedly direct approach. What followed could only be described as interpretive heresy squashing, with each cultist flattened into a crimson smear of red mist in a display that blurred the line between grim efficiency and comedic timing. If the Emperor judged this particular art form as worthy or heretical, we do not know, as the Emperor was not available for comment. The squad then rearmed and turned toward the massive door as it groaned open. Whatever lay beyond was undoubtedly worse. But for now, well, that's a story for part 2. Thank you for watching, Battle Brothers and Sisters. If you enjoyed this little descent into chaos and a healthy dose of heretic squashing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more tactical mayhem. The Emperor protects, but only if you hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep your bolters loaded and beware of grenades marked Return to Sender. Address those to Chaplain Leandros instead.